Hi, I'm Bree, and this is The Work Witch, where I help you integrate your wild, inspired ambitions into your professional life, your career, or your business. In this video, we're going to talk about uncovering the magic that you bring to the workplace. And I'm probably going to end up touching on this topic in multiple videos because it is complex and your magic will change. The things that you bring to the table will change. I want to say that this is not so much about your discrete skill set. This is not your certifications. This is not the training that you bring to the table. This is about what makes you you, what makes you spark at work. So to get started, we're going to try to clear some of your psychic pollution that you might have, okay? I want you to let go of your ideals of what the profession that you're following or the aspirations that you have, what expectations are on those roles, okay? So for instance, I'm a product manager, so all kinds of things come to mind for me about familiarity with different types of technologies, different types of frameworks. You need to let go of all of that first. I want you to shed any psychic pollution that you might have about what your parents want from you, what your partner thinks that you should do, what friends have told you that you should do. I want you to try to peel away those layers, okay? And you're going to get out a piece of paper and you are going to journal, maybe a page or two, maybe 3-4 pages. I want you to write down some times where you were called in to help. I want you to think about all the times at work where people have asked for your input, asked for your advice, wanted to know what you would do in a situation or what you thought. I want you to also think about the times that you have worked on a team project or even a group assignment at school, if you're still in school, and what it is that you contributed, what was special that you did. You might be one of those people who finds that in group assignments or teamwork that you do a lot of the note-taking, or you actually get the presentation over the finish line, or that you ended up doing the whole thing yourself, or you're the one who had the great vision, but we ended up going with somebody else's vision and it was just kind of, it fell flat. This happened to me just last year. I'm in business school right now and I was assigned a team for a competition and I really had an idea that I loved and I tried to pitch it, but I was outvoted. And the ultimate vision that we went with is not something I believed in and wasn't really inspired by, and my best work didn't go into it. Okay, so I want you to kind of reflect on these times or moments in your life and write down just some thoughts, okay? Just whatever bubbles to the surface. You can read back through it later and add your reflections. Another series that you could kind of go for is any time that you have covered for a colleague. This might be covering a shift or covering their ass. It could be that they dropped the ball on a project or a deadline and you help them make it happen. Based on all of this, you should have at least a page of different instances that you can reflect on and kind of build off of, okay? Next, you're gonna start a new page. And this is going to be the page of ideas that you've had, times that you have been inspired. Maybe during the pandemic, you had a brilliant idea for a video game. Or maybe you've been doodling in your journal and thought, you know what, I could turn this into a comic book. Maybe you have driven by the same street corner for 10 years where there's this abandoned building and you kept thinking, there should be a bakery there. That would be the best place for a bakery. Or maybe you had this idea of what if the laundromat had a coffee shop attached to it and a children's play area? Wouldn't that be cool? Any sort of ideas that you've had before that just keep coming up. They might be really random and really diverse in their applications. I know for me, I've had an idea for a video game for a very long time and I can visualize the art, the frame, the games, the play style. I can just see it so clearly in my mind's eye. But I'm not a video game developer, and I'm probably never going to develop a video game. But I've learned a lot about myself from understanding why that story or why that experience resonates with me so much. And that's the point of the second exercise. I want you to look at where people need you and want you, and look at where you're inspired, and see if you see any common threads. Going back to myself as an example, a lot of my ideas are built around things I want to put into the world, things I want to create. These are often novels or films or video games, stories that I really want to tell. And at work, where I'm called in is to help pitch things to investors, to help with a sales call, to help with a different customer, to help tell better stories. I often also help at work when people are having a hard time with managers or with difficult stakeholders. And I cannot tell you the number of times I've had a colleague give me the message that they want to send or the email that they want to send and help them edit it so that it comes across the way that they intend. For this next step, we're going to get a little bit woo-woo, and I want you to come back to that sense of psychic pollution, because already, from me just talking about my experience, you might be doubting yourself. You might be looking at different things and thinking, oh, is that it? Is that it? And not feeling like any one thing is your thing? Now, even for me, I don't want to just be a storyteller. I have dreams that are different than that. I am multidimensional. I'm multifaceted. I don't want to just be that thing. I also want to be an innovator. I want to design stuff. I want to be an artist. One of my other big dreams is to have a raspberry farm and make raspberry preserves for my community. Like, I love the idea of being like the raspberry person of my local prefecture. What you do at work will change. You're going to have different jobs. You might start a business. You might have some side hustles in addition to your career. Some of your passions might actually show up best in working in nonprofits or in volunteering or starting community groups or clubs. So make sure you capture everything and look for the common threads. Hopefully you're starting to see where your magic lies. Maybe a lot of what you seem to be inspired by and what you do at work is about healing people, helping people work through problems, or helping people see in new ways. Maybe a lot of what you do is nourishing people. Are you that person that seems to come to work every Friday morning with baked bread or muffins? Maybe you find yourself really mentoring the younger people at your job. You help them think about their high school plans, their university plans. You help them kind of work through parental issues. Maybe working with youth is something that inspires you and is also where you're called to help. If you clicked on this video, I'm going to assume that you have some level of ambition, but more than that, you probably feel like there is some sense of destiny, that you have some kind of calling that you haven't quite identified what it is. Perhaps you feel the energies of a quest just on the other side of your door, but you're so bogged down in the day-to-day that you cannot quite understand what that quest is meant to be. You deserve to be in pursuit of self-actualization. You deserve to bloom like every other flower blooms. You deserve to hunt like every other lion hunts. And you deserve those things because the same life force that permeates our entire universe permeates you. There's a reason that you have ideas. There's a reason that you have these desires, that you want to enact change on the world. And I completely believe that the universe wants those things of you too. In business, we often talk about market opportunities. Is there an opportunity in the market for a certain product? Are consumers going to accept this new thing? Is it going to just be a short-term profit, or is it going to be long-term sustainable? Do we want to really invest into launching this new thing, right? There is another way to think about this, which is that in the same way that when we go to the grocery store, or when we're out shopping, or we're browsing online, or looking through the app store, we have desires of finding something, right? Of finding that thing that we can't quite say that we're looking for. The same thing can happen on YouTube or Netflix, where you're just scrolling through the options and nothing quite speaks to you. You're looking for something else. I had this happen to me on Etsy yesterday. I kept putting in like so many different combinations of keywords trying to describe what I was envisioning that I was hoping to find on Etsy. And I had a big budget in my head too. It was like, I want this thing so bad. Like, I will pay double what I would expect for this thing. And I could not find that thing. People, consumers, customers, clients, community members, team members at work are also looking for something, and we can't always quite nail what it is. All of those ideas that you're keeping in yourself, those inspirations, there's a reason that they're there. There's probably some desire on the other side from everybody else to see that happen. You probably have a lot of ideas or a lot of moments in those journal pages about things that you've done that have helped people, ideas that you've had that really inspired you, or even maybe you got started on and didn't finish. So I want you to go back to those pages that you wrote down, and I want you to kind of think through them again, read through, start highlighting, start circling, start adding some detail, and find some of the stuff that's making you bubble up. I want you to just pick one. It doesn't have to be the one that, like, if you were guaranteed success, you would pick that one, okay? It can literally just be random. Move your finger and select one. And I want you to think about that idea, that aspiration, that ambition, and start introducing yourself with it. Hi, I'm Bree. I am an aspiring author, and also I work in marketing, tech, and as a product manager. That could be your format. Hi, I'm an aspiring blah. And I also do X. The real point of this exercise is that it should make you a bit uncomfortable. It should start to help you shed some of the predisposition that we have to identify ourselves through our titles at work, through our hierarchy, to say, oh, I'm the regional manager for business development at, such and such bank. I think when we attach ourselves to those titles, and when we attach ourselves too much to like a single organization or company that we work for, we're really separating our way what we do from our power, right? It becomes something that's bestowed upon us rather than a willpower or a creative force that we exert into the world. You need to start thinking of your ideas, your skill set, whether it's discrete or more soft skills, as something that you are providing as a service to a given company, organization, or your team. At the same time, when we lead with those skills, we also leave open space for that aspiring author idea or that business idea. So maybe you're a full-time nurse, but every time you're on your way to your shift, you see on that corner that abandoned storefront and you keep imagining what it'd be like to have a bakery there. Maybe this keeps bugging you. Maybe you really think, you know what? I should do that. If you actually have baked before, you could introduce yourself as, I'm a baker and a nurse. We should be leading with our aspirations. We should be leading with the actualized version of ourselves. Which leads me to the second tip, which is that you need to give the world opportunities to meet you. I am fully aware that we all have different capabilities, resources, time. I have 2 kids and I am disabled, so I totally get this. But there are many ways for the world to get to know you, like social media, starting a blog, in addition to things like networking or attending events or starting some sort of social group. The world is not going to rearrange itself around a passive daydream. The world is only going to rearrange itself around your ambition if you show up and lead with that ambition, if you live it like a beacon. It is so important to be claiming your aspirations, to be claiming what makes you excited and fizzy and jazz. We'll talk more in future segments around some tactical ways that you can build confidence around these aspirations, whether it's through courses or just buying books or joining clubs or circles. Maybe it's going back to school. There's all kinds of ways that you can really lean into that aspiration. But I do want to remind you before I end this video is that you can change it. You do not have to just pick one thing. I just want you to pick one thing as practice. Your life is long, your career is long, your opportunities will be plentiful. There will be time to do more than one thing, and there will be times to allow things to bloom as a hobby, or to bloom as volunteering, or to bloom as something that you contribute to your community or your family. There was a time where I entertained going to culinary school because I loved cooking and I loved baking and I just wanted to do that all the time. That was not my calling per se, but I still get to pursue that calling at home. I love cooking for my family. I love baking for my family, and I am the chef of the family. A lot of our passions and our inspirations are meant to be part of our lives in sort of like paradimensional ways. It is okay to take the time to figure out which belongs where and to remix things as you go, but if you're just waiting to figure out which one is right, then you're not going to figure it out. You need to be active. You need to be claiming these things. It's not going to come to you in an inspired shower thought of that's the thing. Because if you're continuing to wait for that feeling, it's going to be just another thing on that journal list of, oh, once upon a time I was inspired by X. Okay, our inspirations come and go like the seasons. You need to find the through lines. You need to find the golden thread between what makes you excited and happy and inspired and where you seem to be really bringing value to other people. I will see you next Monday. Toodles.